Okay. Well, I'd like to say good evening, everyone. And once again, it's Tuesday, May 10th, 2016. And our guest host tonight is Beldon Gelff, who's a student of Buckminster Fuller, and that was his mentor. So he's going to host the show this evening. And as usual, we start the program with the law of one. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. So therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask that only the highest good happen. So it is, so be it, and thanks that this is done. Amen. To begin with, I don't think that I'd be going far from the truth to say that the alternative world, the father of the alternative world, was Buckminster Fuller, and his challenge to the world was to make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest period of time through spontaneous cooperation without ecological offense or the disadvantage of anyone. And, that coupled with another Buckminster saying, when individuals join in a cooperative venture, the power generated far exceeds what they could have accomplished acting individually. So in essence, Buckminster Fuller has given us the mention decades ago of what Voices from the Alternative World, this broadcast, emulates or signifies. And tonight we're honored to have as our guest host a student of Buckminster Fuller, and Buckminster Fuller was Beldon Gelff's mentor, and he's going to be the guest host and steer us into a place where we can take on that challenge and be successful. And timing's everything. And gosh, I wish Bucky was here with us now because we could sure use his help. But in the meantime, we know what the job is, and we just got to get work together to put our shoulders to the world and make the world the place that we know it can be. So, but having said that, Beldon, are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay, sir.
I am present or omnipresent. I would like to add something. I studied Buckminster Fuller's work, and I went to Carbondale with my family, and inevitably it didn't work out how I planned. Like that's one of the laws of the universe. Nothing works out the way you planned it, but there's better things that happen. And what you said about not what needs to be done on this planet will take synergy. That is, the whole is greater than what you'd expect from the sum of the parts. That's a principle that's very important. It was demonstrated graphically in Buckminster Fuller's the World Design Resources Inventories. In other words, they did a research project in Carbondale, Illinois, to analyze all the available resources on the planet and how, through design, you could make everyone live on a higher standard than people had dreamed possible. And what he was bucking up against was the ingrained idea of the world is fundamentally inadequate to serve all the people. So it's either you or me, and that leads to war. And that's what happened with Hitler in World War II. They wanted more real estate, and they got it through threatened war and then the actual war began in Poland when he couldn't bluff the Allies any longer. But they didn't. They could have resolved everything immediately. However, the people of the money caste wanted Hitler to invade the Soviet Union because they had successfully thrown the money changers out of the temple, and for 73 years they had no debt. They only used fees to pay for the administration of the loans that they put out. But we're coming to a new cycle on this planet where we're just going to spend ourselves into a world of absolute freedom, security, and abundance for all humanity, and have turned the whole world into a karma yoga service industry where the workers stop work. It's very important that people are empowered to stop work and receive everything according to the Bill of Rights, the New Covenant World Bill of Rights. And there's one plank in here that's true. It's based on the idea of seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you. So here it is. I did a polyhedron, octahedron that has the 7 precepts of the New Covenant World Bill of Rights, which was the first thing that Alan Michael channeled when he came into a body, and I met him years later. He came into the body known as Alan Noonan in 1947, and I met Alan in 1968. In 1947, he channeled the New Covenant World Bill of Rights, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's available on galacticmessenger.com. You can get that and much more. But here's the precept that I was referring to. Let each of us give to the extent of our ability to the One World Company, and in return, all things shall be added unto us. Now that's a real important precept. It says if you serve the commonwealth of all the people on the planet, you will receive everything, all things, not just a few things. All things shall be added unto you. Well, I challenge all of you listeners to check it out, see if it works for you, and let me know how you find it to be. I found it to be quite a great strategy. For over 50 years, I never asked a human for work, but I selected different projects to do to enhance our commonwealth, and it's true, all things were added unto me. And I enjoyed that sense of autonomy and freedom from physical slavery and wage slavery, which the workers of the world need to throw off the yokes that chain them and be free to participate in a Commonwealth world. In a Commonwealth world. Okay, well, did I hear a beep?
Well, I've been on for a while. This is Tony. I've been on for about 5 minutes or so.
Beldon, there's going to be beeps because there are going to be people joining the program. So
Yeah.
Good.
Continue on, please.
But I want you guys to know I'm here, and I probably will be here.
Absolutely, Sonny. But
Yeah.
the structure is Beldon is the guest host, and he's making his presentation. So
Okay.
Well, Sonny, I met Sonny in 1968, thereabouts, when I joined the One World Family Commune, also known as the Messiah's World Crusade. And the Messiah meant the messenger to deliver the world out of its throes and agonies and war, crime, disease, poverty, and liberate the people to become autonomous people of the world.
Well, I met you in 68, yeah, and you said you met Alan Michael in 68, so that was that year that I came to Haight-Ashbury in 68. So a lot was going on that year.
Yeah, it was great. Tell us about your photographic experience and what the school of experience we called photosynthesis. I'd like to get some of those photographs out of the archives, which are hidden away, and put them into the public domain as we start the new Mustard Seed Natural Food Restaurant.
In Florida, Daytona Beach, Florida, is that correct?
Yeah, we'll just start a school. We'll set up all the schools of experience that we operated in San Francisco, Marin, Berkeley, Sacramento, Oregon, on and on. The list goes on. So there's no reason why we can't reinvent that and move it to a higher level. The idea of all the great prophets that came always said to people who learn from them that you will do works greater than I. So let's see about that.
Well, we're in a new phase now. New inspiration. All things are opening up once again. So all power to you from the universe that this will manifest. And you wanted me to talk about the photosynthesis? Is that it? Is that what
a little
said?
bit your experience with that.
You are now the interviewer, so I'd be glad to. Well, I just have always had an interest in love for photography, and I like to document everything, and I like to create beautiful photos, and so we created this. We had this lab in the Berkeley houses, and I dubbed it photosynthesis because it's about photo, light, and the synthesis energy, which we were always referring to as the synthesis of the opposites, the yin and the yang, etc. But then, of course, that comes together with the photosynthesis of plants. And then I was involved with one called Chris Plant at the time, and so we were relating to plants, and he now is the one that has the sharing gardens in Oregon with his wife Lynn. So that's what led to the creation of that to the particular school of experience, you might say. And Chris and I were both involved with that photo lab, and we did a lot of documenting of the communal experience and also some creative things. And we also did a light show called Israelites. He reminded me of the name of that. And I really enjoyed that because I got to put together slides that we use liquid lights and use the slide projector and all, and I put together slides that illustrated the songs, and we had such a variety of songs, music that was created there in the commune with the various musicians. So music, as we've been discussing lately in the Diamond Show, is in such a powerful way of expression and lifting of the energy. So putting.
That was great. That was really great. I experienced that.
Yeah. Putting the visuals with the sounds, that was really inspiring to me at the time, and it still would be now. I mean, because I really believe in that, the power of all of that. The lifting of the energy through sound and visuals. So,
incidentally, Sonny, I have like 3 notebooks filled with slides that I've kept. Every slide that I took that covered Oregon a bit, and Arizona and California, and a lot of murals. Some are gone. That Charles Lobdell, who painted a mural at a Berkeley restaurant, along with others, and Alan Michael did a terrific sign painting job, and Charles did a few Unite the Workers, the churches, and the students picture on the that he used people in the commune as models, and painted that on the corner of the building by the back entrance. But Alan Michael he was a master at lettering, and he did a world celebration. Get ready for the world celebration, 1776 to 1976. We were supposed to have a world celebration. And then it came and went, and I said, hey, what happened to the world celebration we're going to have?
Seemed like a long time ago. 76. Wow. Yeah. Well, good.
Excuse me. There were great things going on. Oh yeah, I mentioned that I do have slides stored away in a couple projectors, and I haven't shown any of them for years now. But that'll be an interesting thing to take out of the attic, so to speak. And I've kept all those archives in as good condition as possible. So,
I have slides too. from well, let's see, how far back they go back from Berkeley and Stockton, and some from Sacramento, and of course from Maui, the Maui project. So I have slides from all of those places.
Really good. I wanted to mention one thing. I spent a summer in Arizona, and I had slides. I went to Arcasante, Paulo Soleri's project, Arcasante, and I took pictures. And then I went back to town, and people had set up what they called smoke-free, no shoes, no smoke, no alcohol dance parties, and they had a projector, and they also had Arcasante slides in it, and I combined my slides with their slides. So we had like 3 projectors going with people playing music, composed music, and drumming, and people just had a great time dancing to that. So that's something we have the power to reinvent quite easily.
I was going to say, Beldon, me and my friend and I went to Arcasante, and there was one thing that really we had a week or so ago, that it was 100 degrees, and there were these airways that were large, like big culverts underground. And when you got in those culverts, through just by the process of natural thermodynamics and airflow, it was like 68 or 70. It was really cold, and there was no mechanical apparatus. It was just a natural flow of the air, and just 200 or 300 feet away, you could step out into 100-degree temperatures. And it always struck me. I said, well, there's a natural air conditioning that takes place that we're not even using, and we've got all generating all this electricity, all this stuff, because our city is designed properly. I just wanted to interject that thought, and you reminded me. Where did I experience that? It was the very Arcosante, the very community that you had mentioned. So anyway, I'll get out of the way. Go ahead.
Well, to add on to that, when I went to Arcosante with a fellow who had lived there. His name was Benny, and I was getting work done on my International Scout with a 6-cylinder Chevy engine, so it was pretty powerful. And he and I went up to Arcosante, and we slept out on the decks outdoors with our sleeping bags. And in the morning, who shows up? NBC's Real People shows up, and they're doing a documentary on Paolo Soleri, and I got to observe that. But in the process of meeting them, I challenged them. I said, I have more information in my little Jeep than NBC, CBS, and ABC put together. And it only cost $300. And I gave them a leaflet that I had made up. I was a big leafleter, and I challenged them with that. And lo and behold, they show up in Stockton, and they do a 2-day seminar videotaping our communal project and featuring Alan Michael and all the kids in the One World Family Commune. And they even said they even gave Alan Michael money not to appear on another show so they wouldn't be trumped.
Wow!
And then the next thing that happened, the whole program disappeared. It was gone. They wouldn't. So much for freedom of speech in America, which is gone.
Well,
incidentally,
the thing of it is, this whole idea of creating a world without ownership of land and use of money and laws and police and armies is a direct affront to the status quo. So it's no mystery to me why they want to quell the information, because what this show is trying to do is get it out so we can get this thing done as quickly as possible. And that it's part of Buckminster Fuller's mission statement, and nonviolently. We're going to do this with love and reason and wisdom, and we're not going to resort to the tactics of violence. This is going to be done with and that in itself is going to cause it to be a permanent change.
It will be done with the idea that time has come and cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I got this message. I was talking to my son about Donald Trump. I wrote an open letter to Donald Trump. With his amazing last man standing in the Republican Party. So what I wrote to him was information to give him a Trump card. So I'll read a little bit of that a little later on, but first we'll cover some other things.
In the Spring Jam is being played out these days on the world stage.
Where is it?
Incidentally, I want to refer to pages 25 and 36 in the New World Bible, the Everlasting Gospel, which was channeled by Alan Michael, and I participated as reading the rough scripts, the rough, and making suggestions to the main group who were editing the book. And so now the book's in print, and I have brand new copies, and people are selling them on the internet, used ones, for $20 each, and they're quite extraordinary because it's the most important book that's ever been printed on this planet. It tells you things that you couldn't dream of to be possible. And one of the in the beginning of the Everlasting Gospel, it speaks about 6 billionaires who are appointed by creation, what people call God, the Grand Order of Deuteronomy, and these millionaires are assigned to put on free seminars all over the world in luxury hotels to teach people how to transcend the debt structure of the university educational system. As Pink Floyd said, we don't need no education, which says that we do need a real education, and it has to be free to be real. So this is given with the way to set up the University of the Universe all over the world, and the 6 billionaires who are assigned to put on these seminars will come forth. And my letter to Donald Trump is saying, well, Mr. Trump, are you going to be the first of the 6 billionaires to do God's work?
Well,
anyhow,
Beldon, this is, right on this note, as we speak, there is a billionaire, and he has put in motion, along with some of his colleagues, and I think he hails from the Silicon Valley area, and it's the Khan Academy. And what it is, it's a free K through 12 program that he's got, where you can start out in kindergarten and go up and go to the level of high school and GED for zero cost. So
really, good.
And this
I'll have to talk to that man, because I have the way to teach children mathematics in a 3 to 12 dimensional criteria. And on a greater scale, on the educational level, and I've been when I was on the board of directors at the Molina Center, a fellow David Pittman, he was the executive director, and I was his assistant. Well, we were developing a homeless intentional community, and we were going to have an in-house education. And because that's one of the reasons why they haven't put the money into the bricks and mortar of the existing public educational system, because the trend in the future is going to be homeschooling, but not of a quality that has ever been seen before. We're going to have master's and doctorate degrees in physics and all the sciences and arts and everything, give lectures on the internet for free. And a lot of these universities like Harvard and Columbia and Duke and so forth are offering free college courses on the internet. So the trend is going to be in cyberspace, because the idea of building up these big bureaucracies, all the money can be funneled right to those physics schools and those professors that are teaching, and not this behemoth bureaucracy and teachers unions and just it's an abomination. They've got all these other things acting on the educational system, and everything but educating the students. So one physics professor can give a lecture for a 2-hour lecture to 100,000 students and impart the knowledge. So this is where the trend in education is going, and the genie's out of the bag. There's all these kids coming out of school with degrees in computer sciences in there, and all that intellect and power is going to be voiced in the world of cyberspace, and it's going to. This technology is going to give us the acceleration that word that as soon as possible. Well, it's not
it's not quite there yet, but it's almost now getting to the speed of thought. So I'll back out now, and I just wanted to let you know that it's happening as we speak, Beldon.
Great. Well, that's why I need a secretary to help me put the photographs of models that I've been making, actual models that come from my geometry book. And getting back to Buckminster Fuller, the first 3 pages I channeled were about spherical X-sets, which was to develop the analytical side of the brain. And then in making the models with color, texture, photographs, design, so forth, it stimulates the intuitive, artistic side of the brain. So when the student finishes my 6th grade class, they are operating, their brain is getting information on the full spectrum of the universal mind. And then they enter into experiences to build their own housing, to learn about geodesics through model building and actual full-size and scale model structures, and so forth. And I've done some of this with moderate success for the scale we operated on. But pretty soon we're going to do some really good projects. I have the land for a prototype situation here in Florida, and that can spread out to many places. And then I'll be available to do seminars. Perhaps in Oregon, and I got the message to set up a dome building factory in Africa. That would be interesting because the geodesics are very compatible with. It slipped my mind in the Ghana. In Ghana, Buckminster Fuller lectured there, and students came from all over the world to be with him in Ghana. And Africa really needs a new world project there. So that was one of the places that I got the telepathic message to target as a world around one world company construction and design project. So there's all this information coming through, and it's highly intuitive and has practical applications. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, that's very inspiring, Beldon. It seems like everything is expanding. The vision is expanding. It is appropriate time for all of this. As we've been talking about on the other Diamond shows, that these are, this is the time for things to happen and change.
You have no idea what we're dealing with here in Florida, what we've gone through to get this project in its embryo state. You couldn't imagine what Joel and I have been doing and the different people we've been dealing with. And not intentional adversity, but just the fact that we need people who have ability, who are trained.
Beldon, on this issue, and we're talking really about governing agencies and building codes and fire codes and health codes and all these things. And I want to bring up the name of Michael Reynolds, and I wanted to ask your permission to try to get him to join the show, your next presentation on the second Tuesday of next month.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And Michael Reynolds is in Taos for everybody's information, and he's if you've heard of the word Earthships. And Michael, over the years, he's called the Garbage Warrior because he builds his structures out of recycled materials, and now he's got the governing agencies in Taos. He's got his building methods approved in the Taos building codes. So they have
to do experimental structures.
Yeah, and so the reason why I'm because I know it's a matter of connecting all these dots and getting the right people together with the right places, and this all of a sudden we've got some horsepower to really make some significant moves. And I look at all these areas of places like Ghana, and there's one place in the Middle East where there's one fellow that's actually, one of the problems in the Middle East is the lack of water. So that they have desalinization plants, and it produces about 200 or 300 pounds of salt for every 1,000 pounds of fresh water. Well, this fellow is developing using the salt as a building material, and he's getting great results. It's just a matter of finding the right catalyst so that it's impervious to rain and weather. So, we got to get all these people together in the right places, and all of a sudden we'll have that nuclear implosion that's going to give us the power we need to really shut down all the negatives in the world. And so, with your permission, I'll go ahead and try to recruit Michael Reynolds to join us in some of the upcoming programs, because getting past the governing agencies is really one of the bulwarks. They're not allowing us, and actually in the Molina Center, I wanted to actually start as a experimental laboratory for New Age architecture and agriculture. And that way, then we'd have the freedom to transform the physical plant as we saw fit and tear it down and rebuild it again as technology improved. So anyway, with that, I'll back out again and let you have the floor. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for that information. Definitely, I would like to have people come forth and present their visions and so forth. In 1968, I had meetings in our commune at Oak and Lion Street, where a few of us built a studio to produce a newspaper and publishing and artwork. I did all the artwork for the Universal Communicator, a little magazine that it was extraordinary that we published, and with the price of 35 cents on it. Anyway, the back page was called World Planning Here and Now. And in it, you're in a spaceship looking at the planet, and the planet's drawn psychedelically in three-color separation, each hand done by yours truly. And on the console is the Bucky Fuller Dymaxion map laid out flat on an electronic console. And in the corner of it, it says graphic, television, computer. This is 1968, mind you. And I had worked out all the principles was that as you came closer to a planet, the grid got higher frequency so you could see the detail, like it's just like getting on the internet and Googling a piece of property where you could see what's going on, the latest imprint of it. And so that was in 1968, and all this came to be.
Beldon, I just wanted to interject here another thought. For those of you who are not, when Beldon mentions the Dymaxion map, if all of you need to familiarize yourself with Buckminster Fuller's ideas, the Buckminster Fuller Institute has a website. So if you just put Buckminster Fuller Institute and Google it, it'll take you right there, and there's videos and explanations so that you have a more thorough understanding of what Beldon's speaking of.
You can order copies of that map. They gave me a whole bunch of them when they closed down the Sebastopol. It's kind of funny. Buckminster Fuller followed me all over the planet. The first Buckminster Fuller Institute was on La Cienega Boulevard. And as a child in 1941, when I came to Los Angeles, we used to play in the vacant lots, and subsequently one of the lots became the Buckminster Fuller Institute, and that's where we used to climb the signboards there and make a baseball field and all those things. So that was kind of interesting. And then again, it went on that his institute followed me all around to a quarter of a mile where I lived in Santa Barbara, where I negotiated to come for an assistantship in Southern Illinois University. And so these things are amazing. Anyway, the Buckminster Fuller Dymaxion map is available, I'm sure, at the Buckminster Fuller Institute there in Brooklyn now. And you can get one, and it gives you an accurate way of laying out the planet from a sphere to a planar icosahedron, exploded icosahedron. That's what they use, and this is a very going to be a useful tool when we in the coordination of the Internet World Planning Center that will give people their bookings for travel and lodging in the 30/30 plan all over the world. So to look at it mathematically, the icosahedron has 20 triangles, and then it has 12 vertices, which are dual to the center of a dodecahedron, which is all 12 pentagons. So if you divide the whole planet, the spherical planet, into 12 spherical pentagons, you can divide the world into precincts where people would go for 60 days, 30 days for service and 30 days for recreation. So that's a great tool, and all this is possible just by saying so. When we started our commune that I was telling you about at Oak and Lion Street, and we built a graphics art studio, I printed out an 8.5 by 11 sheet on cardstock paper. And that cardstock paper had a truncated icosahedron. That's like the soccer ball. 12 pentagons and 20 hexagons. And the soccer ball. So when kids say, well, let's go play soccer, what they're actually saying is, let's go out and play spherical truncated icosahedral ball. So anyway, this little paper sheet, when you cut it out and put it together, it formed like the size of a hardball, like a World Series hardball. And on each panel there was a design or a message, and one of the messages was, let all men of goodwill come together to build the kingdom of God. That was like one of the messages. So it had...
Magnificent message. Can you repeat that? All come together to do what?
To build the kingdom of God, the heaven on earth.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, folks.
Mm-hmm. So, and then there were other messages on it, and I still have it. It's available. That's what I need to do, is set up a distribution and printing situation where I can send stuff out like to people or put it on the internet. My geometry book is available in the galacticmessenger.com. You go to that website, and then you find out where the Adventures of Polyhedra Mathematics the Game is.
Well,
then you can get a printout of my geometry book thus far. It's going to expand. I'm going to have a
excuse me, Beldon. One of the things that I'm hoping for is as we build this platform, this foundation, and we're kind of doing the soil test. Is this really the place where is this a cornerstone of the new world? And that's one of the, I'm kind of feeling it out, and it looks like it is, and it sounds like it is, but we'll as we go forward, we'll find out if it really is. And once we get some coherency, we're going to have the funding problems solved, and we'll be able to put some kind of a cognitive package together that we can present to the world and start to get them focusing on what has to be done. And get things done in an efficient fashion.
I want to talk about Mr. Trump now.
Okay.
That we're in a political year, which is very important because the congressmen and mayors and governors, they have a church that Alan Michael wrote about that ciphered out of the Bible, and that church gives them the power to do all these things that are great, but they don't know about it. So how do you get them to tune in to their church? The architects and engineers have a church called the Laodiceans, and the other church of the is in the Spirit God's 7 churches is the politicians, all the statesmen and mayors. They have a church too, and they're saying, well, to them, they say, well, why is it that there isn't enough money for libraries and infrastructure and education and all these things that they have no budget now for because of the nation is so heavily in debt. And so then they're given a plan. They're to contest. The mayors are to contest the governors, and the governors are to contest the senators and congressmen about these things. Why we don't have money printed by the United States government rather than the Federal Reserve. This is the stone that the builders rejected, that Jesus spoke about in St. Matthew. He said, "Have ye not heard of the stone the builders rejected, and a nation which is marvelous in our eyes will lay the cornerstone?" And that was the Soviet Union. For 73 years they had no debt until Yeltsin came up and screwed it all up, and Gorbachev didn't know how to say, we will build a communal free enterprise economy. That's all he had to say. We will build a communal free enterprise economy, synthesizing the best of the free enterprise system and the best of the social control over over property and other things that can't be used by the free enterprise system. And so they could have integrated, and he was really good about that. He made friends with Ronald Reagan, and thank God they stopped the Cold War, which is another interesting story. I have a book about the Soviet submarine service, which was not as they had many nuclear accidents in it, and they should make a movie about one Soviet commander who had participated in 2 nuclear tests to explosions that took place, and they were so devastating that he was then put into a position with with I believe there were 3 submarines altogether that went to Cuba during the Cuban situation with Kennedy. And they had him cornered and they were tracking him. And he had a nuclear weapon on board his submarine. And he chose to not fire it. Had he fired it, it would have ignited total conflagration on the planet. So he was like one of the great heroes of the Socialist Republic, who kept his cool and outmaneuvered all the carriers and all the people that were tracking him. Interesting story. They should make a movie about it. Anyway,
Beldon, again on this issue of the billionaires, Warren Buffett right now, along with a number of people, are trying to get a group of billionaires, 150 of them, that pledge to give half of their fortunes away. Okay,
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, and so I was going to say that, you know, the resources are there, and they just need a business plan, a philanthropic plan that makes some sense and is doable and is going to achieve some results. So and having a litmus test or being vetted, that's a good thing, you know. So we just have to put the business plan together that makes some sense, because what's happening right now is technology is creating a situation where robots work for $2.20 an hour, 24/7, 365 days a year, and without any breaks. And so there's going to be a growing permanent class of unemployed and partially employed people that need something to do, and they can be brought right into this quickly and really accelerate the rate of the growth of the new world. So
yeah, read the Everlasting Gospel, page 25 and page 36 has a directive for the billionaires of the world to get to harvest. Only 6 are required to bring forth this great.
Resources. The resources.
We did everything on a shoestring. So if we had 10% of the billionaires, what they spend for an election, we could make big changes.
Yeah, the resources are in place, Beldon. All we have to do is create the prototype for them to see that this is where the world's going, and we're going to take those human beings that are really the most important part of the whole equation, and really you can't give us enough unemployed people, because we need all the people we can get to do what we need to do, and and having said that. We're approaching. We need 20,000 hours to really go into all the detail about the architecture of the new world and how we go about building it. And we just take it one step at a program. So all of the listeners right now, I would like to just open up the floor. Unmute. You can just start.
Before we do that,
okay.
I would like to read some of the essence of the first half of the open letter to Donald Trump.
Okay, good enough. Go ahead.
It goes like this. It's a hot channeling. It's just very recent, but it goes into eternity. Dear Mr. Trump, you have adversity. Dear Mr. Trump, congratulations on winning the Republican nomination for running to be president of the USA. No small hurdle in running the gauntlet. So what is to follow is Mr. Trump's Trump card. I am writing to you with the great idea whose time has come and cannot be stopped. You have adversity all around you, which need not be reiterated at this point. What is to follow now will be a path to change the world, which Mr. Obama failed to do, in his 8-year tenure as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military, and as Eisenhower named the military industrial complex, also called in your Bible the beast. Referring to the great American military, the Bible says, quote, "Who can make war with the beast?" We are the people of the U.S. Well, we are the people of the U.S., are the people who lost their nation to the European bankers in 1913. The Federal Reserve Act, through the Federal Reserve Act. So we are straddled with unrepayable debt, as numerous other nations also are indebted. Winning the presidency, you may become, hopefully, the last billion-dollar president. We are no longer a democracy. We are a moneyocracy. Industry is no longer our greatest product. It is usury debt management. So the creation spoke to Abraham and told him, "Take thy people from this land, and I will show you a new land, and you shall become a blessing to all the families of the earth." Now fast forward to Jerusalem, where Jesus is speaking to people on a park bench, and St. Matthew is writing, quote, "Have ye not heard of the stone the builders rejected? The same is the head of the corner, which is a nation. The same is the head of the corner, which is a nation shall lay it, is marvelous in our eyes." And that was the Soviet Union, who had no debt for 73 years because they laid the cornerstone and threw the money changers out of their temple. Now, when Hitler came to power, the main thing they wanted him to do was to invade the Soviet Union and throw their free cash flow money system out and put back the kind of money system the Federal Reserve operates under usury. So and they brought war by withdrawing the money from the economy, so the workers would starve if they didn't toe the line. When they got the mandate to World War II, start World War II, and the armaments, all this money showed up. Well, where the hell did it come from? So these are some of the issues that come to mind, and I will include a Utopian Synthesis Party platform, which one of the planks in it is to restore the United States money, as Kennedy did, with under $5 billion was printed, called United States Note. This is history. Within 6 months, he was assassinated. And they just did it right in front of all the people. They just set it all up and blew his brains out. And that created all this fear with the subsequent assassinations of different people. So we have the fulfillment of the great saying, patriotism is the last refuge for scoundrels.
Yeah, no, I'd like to follow.
That's not written. I'm just I stopped at I stopped writing at one point. So that's an idea of the nature of the chanting that's coming through to give to people, so they'll be really cognizant. Maybe mad as hell and won't take it anymore. Why do people pay 3 times for their houses? Once for legitimate labor and materials, and twice for a bunch of duffers who sit around and collect interest on money. What a racket! Hey, what's his name? Bernie Madoff. He was a piker compared to the Federal Reserve System, and along with I'll add on to that. The Federal Reserve is the first eagle to take roost in the cedars of Lebanon, according to Ezekiel. And this is decoded by Alan Michael in the New World Bible. The second eagle was the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, to tax the people from their income, their rightful livelihood, and to operate the government, which now can only pay the interest on the debt that the Federal Reserve has created. Well, that's basically the scenario that's going on. And then we have all these high-paid yahoos in government that argue about how they're going to pay the stupid debt. Well, they're not going to pay. Bullshit. So I say it's all bullshit.
Beldon, my history, my family's history, my uncle sold social justice papers on the church steps of the St. Louis Roman Catholic churches and sent $2,500 a week to Father Charles Coughlin's radio broadcast, and he was and this was in the early 30s, and he was trying to bring down the Federal Reserve System and the private banking system, and he was put under house arrest, as vilified as an anti-Semite in Detroit for the remainder of his life. But
that's the racket they played. They tried to pull that on Henry Ford, but Henry Ford changed the world so much they couldn't do too much to him. Well, all the workers had a budget car they could go to California and anywhere else with in the United States.
Henry Ford was basically saved by his dealership network, and because he was frozen out of the private banks, and the dealerships, the Ford dealerships across the country, funded Henry Ford to keep his factories going, and so he could buy inventory and materials and so forth. But
he had an option to call back their debt. I'm aware of that story. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Beldon, and it's really critical, and this has to do with getting this thing done as fast as possible. All of the travesties of history are left in the past, and to get this thing done as quickly as possible, I think it's important that we once again look at creating a new model, and that will just take everybody's attention away from all of that and focus on getting the world changed. And I think so. If you want to change something, it's build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And I think that is the greatest lesson, when people can actually see something. It's like Orville and Wilbur Wright. They knew that the airplane could fly long before they built it, but everyone else thought they were nuts until they built the airplane. And so my real thing is to get this thing hyper focused, so we really accelerate the building rate and get that model built that will shut everybody up.
So I have a question that comes to mind. Have you read a copy on the internet of the Everlasting Gospel?
No, but I was going to bring up the Owaspy, and when you said patriotism is the last refuge of scoundrels, there's a quote in the Owaspy that only rogues are going to inherit the offices of government. And so and the one other quote in the Owaspy is, they will try everything under the sun, including Trump, to make this thing work. And no matter what they do, it's going to end up in failure. So I let Rome to the Romans, and let us focus on concentration, because we have all the parts. All we got to do is put them together and get this thing, get examples of this new world functioning in reality. So it dispels all this idea that that's communism, that's socialism, it's plain common sense, folks. This is what we have to do, is change our thinking, change our behavior, and the world around us is going to change.
Yes, we
well,
should.
that's what the 144,000. Their mission is to sing a new song.
And I'm not disputing.
Getting away from everything that divides us as a humanity on the planet, all the isms, all the different, polarized groups, and just back to the oneness that we have to work together and live and love and be together.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Sonny. And you boil it all down and cut it with milk, it just comes down, okay, let's just do it. All the revelations are there all over the world, including the revelation that you spoke of, Beldon. But it's now to get this, distill it down, and dispel with the past, and really, get to the drawing boards, get it designed, get it functioning, and get it so the world can see it as a iPhone instead of a dial telephone. We're working out. Actually, we're not even at the dial telephone stage in development. We're more like the telegraph. So if we can jump ahead in evolution and get to the iPhone, the sooner we get there, and get there to living with the speed of thought, then we'll have that world that we wanted. My gosh, when I was 17, I thought by this time, I've mentioned it many times before, I thought that we would have at a minimum of 10,000 functioning fraternity planned cities, eco-villages that were interconnected and on the way to transforming the world. And we're still babbling about ISIS and war and political campaigns and presidents. And so, and then my uncle responded, he said, remember, the mills of the gods grind slowly but exceedingly fine. And so, and not to dispel or conflict with the revelation that you're mentioning, Beldon, but we got to take the good out of all these things, and men of goodwill have got to go about creating the Creator's kingdom on earth,
and women too.
Yeah, well,
divine feminine.
That's wool man, and I always say wool man. There is a man in the female gender, and woman. It means man kind of abbreviates that, but all men, woman and men. Yeah.
Right. We all have both within us.
Yeah, absolutely, Sonny.
That's what we've been talking about. Cynthia's been talking about, and the balancing and the inner masculine, feminine, the marriage within us, and the balance, and finding the balance, reaching that balance point.
So, Beldon, I hope that I haven't discouraged you from joining us on a monthly basis and moving forward, because it's really a privilege to have you here. And if I've done anything to offend you, I apologize.
Well, nothing offends me, but the one thing that people can't conceive, and it's understandable, is the worldwide work stoppage. We used to call it a worldwide buyer strike, and then Alan Michael started channeling worldwide work stoppage, karma, yoga, exercises. You can't have the worldwide work stoppage unless people have something real to do.
Well, the funny thing about it,
the people. So it's a foolproof plan. It's sort of like in the bag.
Beldon, I think like everything else, the work stoppage, they're creating it themselves by a shrinking economy that's not absorbing the people. If machines and profits taken the more importance to the money makers and land grabbers than the human beings, and that's what the whole universe was created for. So it's by creating the surplus, they've destroyed the consumer, because these people that they're throwing out in the streets because they don't need them, it's the 47% now, but pretty soon it'll be the 65%. They don't need 47% of the human race, but then pretty soon they won't need 65% of the human race. So this thing is going to die a natural death, but it's going to stay in place as long as it has to. So the quickest way to get rid of it is create the new world, create the alternative that they'll go to the iPhone, they'll go to the intentional communities rather than stay in this hell of their own making.
And those that have been in control are losing their power as the people rise. And once again, the world government will be serving everyone, not just the elite. And that's how it's been for too long. Yeah.
My answer to that is we don't have to declare a work stoppage. We're going to create it by absorbing all the labor. There's not going to be anybody around to buy anything.
Well, any way you describe it intellectually, it happens automatically. But the one thing that we haven't talked about, which goes back to the Soviet submarine captain who refused to blow up the American Armada because he had the ability to commit suicide and blow everything up, but he didn't. He returned to his base in the Soviet Union. It was Soviet Union at the time, and that was the end of that. But the thing that it alludes to is that space intelligence, the creation, controls all nuclear explosions. And the reason there's atomic bombs and rockets to deliver them is so they can be sent up into space and exploded without through ETI system, where they would fission out all the satanic consciousness around the planet. When that happens, that's the harvest. Whoever is not written in the book, so to speak, goes into a state of amnesia. They lose their mind. They don't have anything to tune into to continue their behavior to world mass destruction. It's complete. Because the ETI sends a great mothership into orbit, and there's been previews of this going on in different places of the world where it's been photographed and documented. So when the ETI sends its spaceships around the planet and people have access to them and go up for healing seminars, that fulfills the promise in your scripture that's saying that they overcome death and they overcome all disease and death and everything on the planet. That's the time where people become a cooperative society, so everyone can become not only a planetary citizen, but a galactic citizen.
Mm.
And this area of thought kind of falls into the area of quantum mechanics, where theoretical physicists extrapolate a hypothesis on the universe that cannot be proven. And in the philosophy, there's the simplicity. I like the simplicity because it kind of boils it down into simple, understandable concepts. And the first one is the beginning of wisdom is to know the source of all things, and that the Creator is in control of every jot and tittle. And my uncle was my mentor, and he often said, Dale, deceive not thyself, thou canst deceive thyself, because the Creator, can give you a thought at any time to do whatever is the will, his or her will, and
that's gone on for thousands and thousands of years. All the recognized prophets were given the words to speak.
Yeah, and was true then, and it's true today, and it's going to be true tomorrow. So the idea, the focus should always be follow the highest light, and to transform our world, and once again goes into, well, knowing all of this, what should we do? And again, it focuses on Buckminster's thoughts about, build the model, build the airplane, and they can see that you can fly. Go to the moon, and they'll understand that you can get there. Build a new civilization.
Here's what we should do in the here and now that I feel is important. I'd like to hear from some of the listeners.
Okay. Everyone, if you'd mute your phone and push *6, you can come in and have a comment or a question or what have you. Hello?
Hello. Do we have some listeners out there?
Yes, which ones I want to speak? Use the power of the word.
Okay. I can tell you this. You have at least one listener.
Oh, okay. Well,
Misty.
two or more gathered in his name, and you've got, that's all it takes.
Ooh, that's correct. Thank you very much for that, indeed.
Do you wish to identify yourself?
Sure, this is Misty.
Hi, Misty.
I recognize your voice.
This is Beldon, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so Belvin, right?
Belton.
Beldon. Okay, I'm so sorry. I have been. I jumped in and I had to jump out and jump back in, so I was late to the call.
Okay.
So,
well, Misty, do you have a card?
Do I have a card?
Yeah, because normally you come to the beginning of the program, but I just wanted, before you said anything, do you have a card for us to read? And excuse me.
Oh, well, if there's anything else you want to share, Misty, other than doing
okay.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yes, I have a card if Belgian has a number that comes into his head between 1 and 81, including 1 or 81, then I could have a card. What do you think, Belden?
Oh.
Pick a number, Belden.
What, my phone number?
No, any number.
No.
Just one number.
Well, my phone number is 83.
No, just one number between 1 and 81.
Can include 1 or 81.
I don't understand what you're getting
Can you
at.
Can you think of it? What's the first number that comes to your mind between
13.
1 and? Okay, perfect. Okay, give me 13 seconds.
Belden, to help you out here, Misty comes on the program and she gives us a spiritual reading, and so this is a spiritual reading for this evening.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So the card that came up is Water Element Cup, and it's the number 6, and that is memory. So give me one more moment here.
Well, the number 6 in memory?
Yes, memories is the name of the card.
Oh.
Okay. So then what I do usually is so the tarot deck that I use is called Shapeshifter Tarot, and I've had the deck for about 19 years, and it's a mixture of Native American and Celtic inspiration. It has 3 additional cards, more cards than like the traditional tarot. It has 81 cards. So what I like to do, because this deck is so usually spot on for the messages that each person gets with it. So all I do, because I don't want to influence the message, I just like to read the description of the card and read the prophecy and have those who I read it for determine their own confirmations or things from it. So with that, if it's all right, I'll go ahead and read it.
Go ahead.
Okay, by all means.
Okay, so the traditional card for this is the Six of Cups. The key words are reunion, memories, and past lives. The description of the card is, whales play in the peaceful ocean waters of a quiet bay. The initiate has shapeshifted into a large whale and is blowing water like the sound surrounding whales, singing in the joy of being alive. Taking the step to unite with whale energy is a serious one, for now the initiate must explore past lives, seeing all the strengths and weaknesses she or he portrayed and possibly brought into the present life. The initiate is becoming adept at the use of magical words needed to access information out of the past. Symbolic of long life, connection with family and friends, psychic and telepathic abilities, and the use of sound and magic. The whale freely shares its powerful energy with the initiate. After seeing the reality in past lives and learning from past mistakes, the initiate is now prepared to reconnect with past companions and positive relationships. The heron, gracefully gliding above, represents the generation and regeneration of life, symbolic of reincarnation. The symbolic meaning is repeated on the sandy shoreline, the sands of time, and the bones, past lives. Some bones are best left undisturbed. Leave them buried in the sands of time. The initiate has learned from past mistakes and no longer has a need to explore these past lives, but is content to enjoy the present moment. Okay. How is that sounding for you so far?
It sounds terrific.
Okay.
It sounds real here and now and transcendental.
Okay,
being in the present, being in the present moment. That's good. Even though the past can be relevant, but it's all part of a whole scenario.
Well, what's coming up for a lot of people, I know myself included, is this very bumpy road with trying to get rid of the remaining of our emotional baggage that we've carried with us in this lifetime and potentially in others that we buried deep. And so this is a time where it's just been coming up and coming up and coming up for a lot of people, and it's just a process of releasing and releasing. And so, as you know, because we have to get lighter to enter the kingdom of heaven, we must be like babes, right? We can't be carrying emotional baggage with us in there. So now this prophecy may end up being specific for you, I don't know, but it may touch somebody. So I'll go ahead and read it, and here's what it says. Old memories, some of them painful, are surfacing. Don't dwell on the mistakes you made, but seek to find one good thing, then move on. Acquaintances out of your past may be re-entering your life soon. If their presence is undesirable, politely make the separation final. If pleasant, enjoy the reunion. Dreams and intuition may lead you to explore past lives, seeking answers to present dilemmas. Separate illusion from reality, or there will be no benefit in this exploration. You may discover that this past life seeking will open new doors to old knowledge of psychic abilities.
Oh.
Well,
Like
that's very appropriate. No.
I'll sing a song to you.
Okay.
I'm going to take you on a transcendental journey to the land we've been before. No negative effects in this world, but everything is so pure. Just open up the door.
Yay! Beautiful. That was beautiful.
Hip, hip, hooray.
Hey. Well, here's the time that we are reunioning from those from our past, and that's see, that's what's happening, and bringing it all into present light. That was in 48, I met him 48 years ago in Haight-Ashbury.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. And
so one of the things I'd like to close up with is the importance of music in our culture.
Absolutely.
And I was always sort of like in the background of the people who were musically adept. So I'll give off a few names. There was the master of the guitar and wonderful lyrics, Lietta. There was Leo Farrell in Life Celebration. There was Alan Neal and Kathy and Bill Hannaford. And currently there's my friend Michael Welsh, who did contemporary music at the Barson House in Santa Cruz. And I'll leave the list open for a future program.
I want to bring up somebody who is in the San Francisco commune, Sandy Hirschman.
Oh, yeah, Sandy Hirschman. Yeah, she lived in the same room on the top floor of the Oak and Lion House. Yeah, Sandy Hirschman.
She changed her name to Sophia, she came around to some of the seminars and workshops on Maui when I was there, and she sang there, and so she's made lots of recordings, and in one of the programs here on KVMR, our local radio station, uses one of her songs as a theme song. So it was like we all knew her way back then, and she had such a beautiful voice, almost like sang by Ed.
She's really good. She said, "I don't want to cook macroburgers, I want to do music."
Yeah, well, that was her gift. She has a beautiful voice. Yeah.
Well, listen, Beldon, I wanted to reiterate that the program, and you as guest host have complete control of whoever you bring on. And so if you say tonight's guest is going to be so and so, that's perfectly fine, because that second Tuesday of every month is totally reserved for you. That you are the guest host.
Oh well, thanks. Where are they, in New Mexico or Arizona, the experimental thing? I'd like them to come on the show and give give a presentation of what they went through and how they're doing currently, etc., and how to come visit them and so forth, and how all our abilities can come together into a real happening situation in a unique physical place, wherever that would be.
And this is how important your participation is, and I want to repeat this: is that until you came on the program with your experience and your stature, I didn't have the influence to persuade him to come on the program. But now that you're aboard in the full sense, I have you put a arrow in my quiver that I can fight with, and I'm going to spend the next 30 days trying to recruit his participation in the program, and also for the long term of recreating the world.
Good. I have a question.
Okay.
We did hundreds of programs on the public access in Santa Rosa. We did them in San Francisco, in Sacramento, in Stockton, and so forth. But the main place that we did them for several years was in Santa Rosa, where we moved into a corner house, a large house in Santa Rosa, and literally a half a block away at the high school, they built, when we first moved in there, they built the public access studios, and we were the first group certified to do television shows. So what happened, my question is this: whatever happened to the public access television, and why isn't it as ubiquitous as it had been before? We were sending tapes all around what they call bicycling. We were bicycling our programs all around California.
Well, I don't have an answer for that, but that'll give me some more research to do, because the whole purpose of this is to get it on a worldwide basis, a full hour program on public television where we're really getting, moving the needle over to the getting some consequence. So then that's the job: building the broadcast, building the program, building the foundation, and building momentum for a new world.
Right, that's good. I want to find something here. It's kind of interesting. Here's a reference to my geometry book, Adventures of Polyhedra, Mathematics the Game, and there's a bunch of graphics of different polyhedra that could be made, and there are two snub. One's called snub. They're both called snub pieces. I have them together. One's called the snub cube, which is very interesting. It has the 6 squares of the cube, and then it has triangles rotating around it. You'll find it very interesting. The other is called the snub dodecahedron. It's pentagons that have triangles rotating around it. There's 12 pentagons with 5 triangles each, and they add up to 60, 5 times 12. But when you put it all together, you're missing as you rotate around the pentagons, you're missing a triangle. And when you put those triangles in, you'll find that there are exactly 20 triangles to fill those missing space, and that represents the icosahedron, the friend of icosahedron. Isn't that interesting, all these things? So then I wrote, after completing these polyhedra, you are sufficiently tuned into mathematical conceptioning that you now will be able to pick up Bucky Fuller's Synergetics and read it with meaning and clarity, so that the magic of the wizard will shine through to reveal what God mind is teaching through its microcosm instruments.
I was going to say, how do we access these publications, Beldon?
Try the Galactic Messenger. You should be able to get a printout of most of the book. And then I'll be able to. I've been passing out portions of it, and I need to reprint them. I have some covers.
Could you repeat that again? How we access those publications slowly?
GalacticMessenger.com.
Okay, everyone. GalacticMessenger.com. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. Thanks. But there was one more thing that out of the book that was appropriate. This is actually a statement of the importance of television in the public access in the programming. Adventures of Polyhedra, Exploring Polyhedra, Beldon Gelff. Adventures of Polyhedra. This channeling is designed to stimulate the interaction between children and adults in the world of mathematics and geometry. The first assumption to be made is that the phenomena we are describing can be modeled with 3-dimensional illustrations or material models. So now we are working with number, pattern, arts, and craft. Therefore, numbers will not be used as an abstract form, but as a tool to produce useful and beautiful projects, leading the user into greater and greater awareness of matter's fundamental patterning. We will start our game with 3 bubbles, and this is what came when Buckminster Fuller passed away. With 3 bubbles, and account the topology of each to see how nature's coordinate system really works. The 3 bubbles are as follows. Number 1, the tetrahedron and spherical tetrahedron. Number 2, the spherical and planar octahedron. And number 3, the spherical and planar icosahedron. And all my geodesics and practical models use the icosahedron. It encloses the most space per surface area than the octahedron or the icosahedron. So there you have it, like a nut in a shell.
Well, it's once again it's come to that time where the program's close, and I want to thank our guest host Beldon Gelff for his presentation and how grateful we all are that he's part of this, and such an important part. All these pieces of the puzzle have to come together for this thing to be put together, and you are really a very important part of this, Beldon, and thank you for joining us. And
thank you all who listened to our little exchange here, and remember, our words go forth to accomplish for that which they are sent. So don't feel that other people have a power greater than yours, because we are entering the world of equality, where everyone who wishes has a say in how it's going to manifest. And that keys go into quantum mechanics, because anything you mock up it can manifest on the material plane. So there you have it, back in a nutshell, and this is your nut speaking to you.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. And once again, Beldon will be he's on the second Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and hope you'll join us once again, Sonny, myself, and
of course.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Sonny. I love you both.
Oh, I love you.
And the woman who gave us that prophecy was right on.
Thank you for the reading.
We're shining bright. Our diamonds are shining bright, and we're all facets of this great diamond that's coming together at this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye-bye, Misty.
Thanks for being here, Misty, too, and all of you. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. May the good Lord take you in the palm of his hand.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.